Hi, and welcome to a discussion on generations in the workplace. My name is Locke Hilderbrand. I'm the Chief Insights Officer of CultureWaves. I'm also a fossil millennial.
And I'm Kay Logsdon. I am Director of Applications for CultureWaves, and I am a solid baby boomer.
So today, let's talk about Generation Z. If you're unfamiliar with Generation Z, which you shouldn't be at this point, Generation Z is the generation coming after me, after the millennials. They're going to come in and ruin everything after us, according to everyone in the world.
There's not much left around.
That's true. We've kind of taken a lot of it off the plate. But Generation Z is born after 97. And right now, they're entering purchase power. The oldest ones are hitting college, and they are indeed very, very different from millennials.
They're very, very young. So it's still, the jury is still out on how they will fully behave. But the indications right now are that I want to work with a Gen Z instead of a millennial.
I want to work with a Gen Z instead of a millennial. Let's be real here. It's interesting because Gen Z is essentially being raised as a majority by Gen X. So there is a very different mentality here than my generation that was raised by them, who were kind of told to go, out and seize the world. It's your oyster. Gen Z is very much being told, okay, this is the world. This is what you can do. This is what you can't, and this is where you fit into things. Instead of being told to go seize whatever wild dreams you have.
Well, and to be fair, we raised our kids with empowerment. We thought they could do anything. It wasn't until later that my kids came back to me and said, "You told me I could do anything, but really I can't do that." And then there's there's things I don't want to do. And that's what takes a while to figure out. So that direction has had to change. Gen X kind of got it, though.
Gen X kind of got it, and it's been an interesting thing. And we'll touch back on Gen X, because Gen X is sort of in, like the re-uprising of Gen X is happening at the same time. But Gen Z is a really interesting topic right now because everything is changing for them. Their technology is changing so rapidly and so fast. Their expectations in the workplace are changing, not in the same way that it did for millennials, where everyone thought, oh geez, here come millennials. We have to reinvent the workplace and tear the walls down.
And there was a lot of ooh, they're going to take my job, that you don't see right now. You don't see that with the Gen Z coming in.
Because they're coming in and realizing this is where I should start, and then I should try to work up and find my place.
Yeah, one of the big differences with Gen Z is that they were raised on adaptability. So they know that the next version is going to always be coming out. The next version of a game, the next version of an app, the next version of a job, the next version of a whatever. And that's the mentality they live in. So they're always looking for that next step. Millennials have more, they set their standard, their stake in the ground, and it's difficult to move them. Boomers don't even try because all of that's new. They did not get raised, they don't have that adaptability gene in them, particularly in the workplace. And these are all overarching. They're not applicable to everybody.
Right. And one of the things that has been a really interesting topic of discussion with Gen Z is that idea that for them, half the careers they're potentially going to be in haven't even really been founded yet. The technology is just starting. Look at, I think it's funny because, with what we do and looking at eSports and how eSports was kind of a joke to clients a couple years ago whenever we talked to it, and now it's completely created an industry. Like there's an entire industry around that, and that's what they're doing to a lot of traditional industries and to traditional service models, is that they're not changing it for the sake of changing it the way millennials did. They're changing it because they need it to adapt to the way that their life is changing.
So this is one of the conflicts that you do see a little bit in the workplace, because Gen Z, eSports is a great example. They understand that there's a whole new industry that's created out of gaming, and that you don't have to build a stadium, you just have to build the online technology to accommodate that. You brought that to me, and I'm like, what is eSports? And where do they play? And you mean people actually pay to watch them online? And so there was a whole new learning curve for a boomer, whereas this is already something that Gen Z just understands.
And it's kind of happening in that sense across multiple industries. You know, if you look at how Gen Z is approaching esports and take that model, look at how they're approaching celebrity. Like, they are creating their own celebrities by investing in people on YouTube, or inherently believing that that is an attainable goal for them. It's not the magic of, oh, I was discovered out in a random small town in the middle of Kansas. You know, it's that idea that I can grow up to be a celebrity, and here is the path to do so, because I have the right to create content. And that mentality is completely sort of turning the idea of what an industry could be on its head, because these guys are creating Etsy stores at 14, 15 years old, and they're becoming independent business owners. I mean, that's crazy to think of that idea that you're a business owner at 14 and you don't even know it. And what's more important is they're just making products and they're given a platform to sell it all on.
And the Gen Z comes in with a mentality of wanting to work. So they understand their entrepreneurial opportunities. They also understand the benefits of working in an established business. They make their choices, and they actually leverage them against each other. So in the workplace, they're great to have, because they're the ones who are going to suggest new uses for the technology that you have at hand.
And you know, another thing, these guys see success as a form of entertainment. I can't remember how many years ago we were in New York, and we were at the Hudson Hotel, and they had that entire convention of young moguls that were under the age of 16. And the entire audience were all of them, because they perceive this idea that success is this attainable thing. They just have to find the right avenue to get to it.
So that gives you a few tips on Gen Z and how you can begin to talk to them and work with them in the workplace. We'll be back in future episodes with more about the different generations. Thanks for listening.